Hi, welcome to my channel Mostly Knitting. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. And if you're new here, I'm Tash, and this is a podcast where I talk mostly about the knitting that I've been doing, and I also put out regular tutorials. So it's Thursday the 8th of May, and I'm recording from Sydney, Australia. I've been doing daily vlogs for Me Made May, so I may as well talk about what I'm wearing today. It's day 8 of Me Made May. This is Adventurous by Joji Locatelli, so 2 days in a row of Joji Locatelli. This is the only knitted item that I'm wearing today, but it's a big one. It's a coat. I'll stand up and show you. It's got this really lovely Celtic cable design with then a cable here. You can see it's quite long, and everything else is store-bought. I didn't sew any of these items, and it's got a beautiful cable. So the cable, this cable runs all the way around the back, and then a central cable. I'll stand back and show you. Show you a bit closer. Yeah, it's really, really beautiful. It's quite a heavy coat. This yarn is Miss Babs Yowza, and they're huge skeins. There were 3 skeins. It's the colorway Envy. I made this in 2016, and I picked up the yarn at SSK in Nashville in 2015, which was a wonderful knitting retreat held by Laura and Leslie. And yeah, it was fantastic. They do them every year. There's probably another one this year. That was just the only one that I've managed to get to. And I can't believe it's 10 years ago now. Anyway, it's a really lovely pattern. It's got a cable running down the sleeves, garter cuffs, which I don't normally like, but I actually really like it on this. It is quite heavy, and it's all knit all in one piece, so it actually sort of tends to fall off my shoulders a little bit. So I probably do need to do something. I talked about doing that before. I think last time I showed this as a friend from the vault, stabilizing the seams here with I do have a little bit more of this yarn. So I think I have 40 grams left, and I haven't used it for anything else. So anyway, it's really pretty. It's lovely and cozy, and it is cold here today. It was like 26 degrees Celsius yesterday, and it's 18 today with a top of 18. And it is 18. So anyway, it's definitely keeping me nice and cozy, but I do have to kind of pull it and snug it around me because it doesn't have any closures, and it is, it's heavy and wants to pull back a little bit, but yep, I do really love it. So that's what I'm wearing today. I have 2 finished objects to share today, and the first is this lovely big blanket that I finished for my daughter Mia. Now this is the Essential Blanket by Unravelled in these lovely 3 colorways, or 3 colors the colorway is called Calm, and this yarn and the actual kit was gifted to me by Unravelled, and the kit came with the 12 balls of yarn, so 3 of each color for the blanket, and the yarn's called Uno, and that's an alpaca merino and polyamide blend. It's beautifully soft. So 12 50-gram balls. It also had the needles, some stitch markers, a tapestry needle, and the pattern. So everything in the kit that you would need, except a pair of scissors probably. That's about it. Anyway, so I finished this, and I actually talked about it yesterday. Just in case you're not watching my vlogs, I finished it yesterday, and I talked about it yesterday. Not much. I said I'd go into it a bit more today. I was going to block it, pre-blocked. It's 34 inches by 44 inches, and I'll put on the screen what that is in centimeters. And I was going to block it, but I showed it to my daughter Mia, and she sort of snuggled all underneath it, and she was like, "No, this is fine, Mum." And I was like, "You sure? I can make it a bit big again." She's like, "No, I'm good." So as a result, I haven't blocked it, and she's happy with the length that it is. Eventually it will need washing, and so we'll hand wash it then, and then effectively that will be its first block when it needs a wash. So I've sewn in, I think I already had sewn in all the ends. It's got a really lovely I-cord edging. It's a garter stitch blanket, right? It's nothing, but I think the I-cord edging makes it quite nice on the side. And yeah, it's like, it will definitely, you can probably even, I'll hold it up so you can see it's going to stretch out massively both ways, right? So it will get bigger. So if you feel like 34 inches by 44 inches is not enough, so that's my, actually my wingspan is 60 inches. So even as I'm holding it out, it's stretching massively because it's only a little bit less than my fingers. And it's lovely and cozy and soft. So I'm so happy. And I think that's one of the really nice things about being able to craft something, make something for someone that you love. and to know that she'll be able to use it and know that it was made with love, and she'll think of me when she uses it. So anyway, so that one is done. I have a link in the description below to Unravelled store, and if you click on that link and use the code MOSTLYKNITTING10, you'll get 10% off any kit that's in the store, and it is an affiliate link, so I'll also receive a small percentage of the purchase price. So I'm really, really happy with it. I think she's going to be as well. It's lovely and soft and cozy, which is what you want in a blanket. They have a number of different colorways, so Calm is just one of the colorways. The other one that is really like I'm quite taken by is Harmony, because it's got quite a lovely purple, but like an eggplanty purple. It's really, really pretty. And I'm not normally a purple person, but that's one that has sort of caught my eye on their site that I thought, oh, you know, if I was going to make another one, that's the color I'd probably choose. My second finished object is another Sophie scarf, and I knit this out of Sandnes Garn alpaca silk, and I'll put a link in the description to my project page which has the color number, because the color is so beautiful. And I used one skein for this, so I held it double on a 3.5mm needle, and I got to 25 stitches in terms of the increases, and then I stopped increasing for a while. You can probably see it's more of a trapezoid shape rather than a triangle. And then I think I was walking knitting it, and then when I got home I had about 13.5 grams left, and I was like, oh, that might not quite be enough for the decreases, and it wasn't. So I could kind of tell, like I did a little bit of math in terms of how much yarn each ridge was using, and I was like, I think I need more like 15 grams. So I just sort of decreased a little bit more rapidly, but I don't think you can, like from this, I don't think you could tell even up close that one is not exactly, I suppose you can kind of tell here, it's not exactly, but you know what, like when you're wearing it, who's going to know? So the way it blocked out to 45 inches in length, which is just a tiny bit shorter than actually maybe that's all right. Like it wasn't even 40 inches unblocked, and then which 40 inches I'm sure is about 100 centimeters. So, but after blocking, that's just come out right. Actually, I think that's probably perfect. So this was 50 grams. I did. I think the actual pattern, I don't know, I shouldn't probably say how many you're supposed to increase to. Whatever you're supposed to increase to, I didn't get to that. I stopped at 25. So that's, and then came back, or like knit for a while and then came back down. Because obviously you're cutting out the longer rows and capping it at 25 stitches. You're sort of cutting out a bit of, like that little wedge cuts out some yarn. Because I think my other ones are more like 65 or 62 grams maybe, whereas this one is 52 grams. Just the ball was a tiny bit heavier. So yeah, this is Sandnes Garn alpaca silk. Yeah, I think that's fine. That's it. I'm very happy that it's done. More than anything, there was one ball. It was on sale. I bought it and I wanted to try the yarn. So this is all I had left of the yarn. So not obviously, I mean, I might try and save that somewhere just in case I need for repairs. But you can see it's really, really beautiful. It's quite loosely plied. It's very soft. It's a blend of alpaca and silk. So that's what was left after I wove in the ends. On the other end, the tail of my yarn, after I'd woven that in, what was left was this. And obviously you can see that's what's happened to the yarn itself after it's been sort of rolling around in the bag. So the yarn itself obviously fluffs up pretty badly, but it will be interesting to see. So that's the yarn sort of in the ball. That's the yarn from the tail that's been roughed up. You know, I've been walking and knitting with this, right? So, but it looks great now. So I'm really curious to see how it wears, you know, near a jacket, underneath, my hair and everything. So I will report back on how the scarf actually wears, because I am very curious. I'd like to use this yarn again, but that just kind of worried me a little bit. I thought, okay, let's see how it actually wears. So I'll report back later as to how it wears. And I love this color, so I'm sure it will get some use. And it's winter here, so hopefully it'll get, nearly winter yet. So yes, that's my two finished objects. I have 2 new works in progress from my last main episode. They have been shown off a little bit in my daily vlogs, but I haven't really gone into detail. So the first one that I want to show is the Eva cardigan by Petite Knit, and I'm knitting it out of Madeleine Tosh Alpaca Sport in the colorway Sea Glass. That yarn is discontinued now, but it's a really lovely soft yarn. I really like it. So if you can get hold of it on D-Stash, it's it's really nice and just got a lovely hand. So it's a top-down pattern. I've started you start with the back neck, increase for the back, and then it's actually quite interesting. You increase down and then you pick up stitches. It's quite an interesting construction. I have enjoyed making it. I think I probably did like half a ball in one day, and then it sort of sat while I did other objects. But and I think actually the main reason it's sort of sitting is because I've had to start alternating skeins. You don't have to, but you can see it's hand dyed. I'm just going to hold it up close. It's wise to alternate skeins, at least in part. You can see there's quite a lot of variation in the value. You know, you've got some darker and lighter bits. So it is quite possible for one skein to be darker than another, which, you know, what I usually do is alternate for about a total of 20 rows. So because I'm knitting back and forth, every 2 rows I'm swapping, and I've only really just started alternating, but I want to at least have 10 rows of the old and 10 rows of the new alternating until I then continue with the new. Some people alternate the whole way. I really don't enjoy alternating skeins. I only do it if I have to, and I only do it as much as I need to. And I think 20 rows blends it enough, unless it's like a massive difference. But I have found that these yarns are actually pretty well matched. So and also, what was the other thing I was going to say? Because later on I'm going to be picking up for the button band, it's no big deal to just be alternating at the end of the row, because then the alternating is just going to come in, be behind the seam stitch anyway when I pick up for the button band. And I think I will just do the 2x2 ribbed button band. I know some people have alternated this to a double knit button band, but I quite like the design with the thick double knit button band. I also have yarn in stash with the navy blue that is in the pattern, like the Sandnes Peer Gynt in the Night Sky, I think it's called. So I do want to make another version. Like, I haven't even finished the first one, but I want to make another one. But I just felt like I just wanted to knit with this bright color. So I've started with this one, and I also have plenty of this yarn. So that's my newish work in progress, one of them. The other one is the Adamson vest by Rui Yamamuro, and I'm using Woolfolk 2. I don't know what the colorway is. It'll be in that is just the oddest yarn. Let me show you up close. It's got this sort of, it's very inflexible core with fluff around it. So you can see there's no stretch. It's nice and soft, very fluffy. Because of the nature of the fluff being a lot, a little, you can see it's quite thick and thin. And honestly, in terms of looks, it reminds me of, like a kind of inexpensive, not very nice big box store yarn. I'm not saying all big box store yarns are not very nice, because quite a lot of them are. But this reminds me of one that's, like cheap yarn, not very nice to knit with. And I have to say that is my knitting experience with this. I am not enjoying knitting with this, and it's not cheap. So I won't be buying this again. I will probably finish I will. I know myself. I will finish it. I think it's going to end up being fine. So I've actually made quite a bit of progress in the last, I can't remember when I cast it on, but doesn't matter. I'm making this size 1. The gauge is meant to be 19 stitches, and I'm getting closer to 17. So I dropped off the last, so you start with the back, and then you pick up stitches and knit down, join in the round for the V. You've got quite a lot of increases down the armhole, and I just took off the last 2. So that will reduce 4 stitches on the front, 4 stitches on the back. I then did, because that was going to reduce in row depth, I did 4 more rows plain, because my row gauge is about right. So I didn't want it to be too tight under the arms. So I got to that same, armhole depth. and now I'm knitting down, and I've just started like the little eyelet details. Yeah, I'm just not enjoying knitting on knitting with this yarn. I think the pattern, nothing wrong with the pattern, I just don't like the yarn. And I think what was the Luft was the other Woolfolk yarn that I've knit with for the beanie by Joji Locatelli, A Twisted Affair. And yeah, I didn't really love that one either. So I haven't found a Woolfolk yarn that I like yet, and it's expensive, so I don't see myself rushing to buy any more of this brand. And I don't want to slag off a yarn company, right? I just don't like it. Other people clearly do, but I'm going to tell you what I like, right? That doesn't mean you won't like it. Maybe you'll like it, but I don't like it. So anyway, my personal opinion, but I'm going to finish it because it's soft. Okay, so it is soft, which is like its saving grace. I just don't enjoy knitting with it. And it kind of looks a bit, let me just show you up close. It does look, I mean, I guess this is the design, but see how it's quite sort of, and maybe it kind of reminds me of sort of a boucle-ish, sort of like that kind of uneven texture. And personally, I'm not into the boucle. Who knows, I could change my mind. But yeah, I just don't, it's not really me. I don't really like all of the, I don't know, I just don't like that kind of texture at the moment. I could be persuaded. I didn't used to like speckled yarn, and then I do, now I do. So, you know, at the moment I don't, but I will finish it. And I think that's, oh yeah, I'm making the 34 and a half inch size. I'm using the recommended needle sizes of a 4mm. But even with cutting off a little bit of the, the last couple of increases, it's still measuring around 37 inches. So that's 5 inches of positive ease. It's meant to have between 2 and 8. So, and I'm holding it up against my Stockholm vest. So I think it's really handy if you have something that you like the fit of. This one turned out to be about 34 inches. So this one will be a bit bigger. But I've been putting it up against this just for checking the armhole depth and, all that kind of stuff. Because that's, like ease, I can understand a little bit more ease, but I definitely don't want it to be up too tight. So, and I'll be wearing it over a blouse, although the model's wearing it with nothing underneath, but I'd probably wear it over a blouse. Who knows? I don't know. I'm going to finish it. There's only there's 130 meters in a ball, a 50 gram ball. I'm on my second ball and I only have 3. It's pretty cropped. So I don't think there's that much. Max, the amount of knitting I have to go is 250 meters. So I'm going to finish it. I'm a finisher. That's just who I am. Unless, the only time I wouldn't finish it is if I thought there was no way, if it was really yucky and itchy and unpleasant, or was never going to fit, or I just thought it looked dreadful. So I will finish it, and I think I'll wear it. So anyway, that's my 2 new works in progress, and that one certainly should not take long. Moving on to my other works in progress that are continuing. My Elisabeth blouse, I think let me just get this out of the way. I've finished one ball on the sleeve, and so that is one complete ball, because I quite like measuring the amount of yarn used for a sleeve, like just weighing it. So that is one full ball, one full 25 gram ball from started here, and I'm more than halfway, so it will definitely use less than 2 balls for the sleeve, but more than 1, clearly. I think that's maybe at about 10 inches now, and my sleeves are like about 18 inches. So, and I'm just trying that on, but I thought, look, I'll just pause on the sleeve and finish, because it's, I've got like just yarn everywhere, right? So I thought I'll finish what's on the body, and I've got about 4 grams left here. So I'll finish that, and then I'll go back and finish the sleeve. This is really, really lovely. It's, forgot to tell you the yarn. So this is the Elisabeth blouse by Petite Knit. I'm knitting it on a 3.5mm needle, getting gauge of 23 stitches. That's 2 needle sizes smaller than recommended in the pattern. And this is Cardiff Cashmere Classic in the colorway, I'm pretty sure it's 517 AMA, and it's so lovely and soft. I was wearing my woolen berries yesterday, and it just felt like a cloud, but I don't know what a cloud feels like. And in fact, a cloud probably just feels wet. So it doesn't feel like a cloud, it feels like a cashmere goat. Actually, I was thinking it feels like a bunny rabbit, but it's not Angora. So, but it's that kind of feel, just super, super soft and fluffy and very nice next to skin. So anyway, that is where my Elisabeth blouse is, and hopefully should make some good progress on that now I've finished my blanket. And the only other work in progress that has actually seen any action is my Jules Genser. So this is Jules Genser. Genser apparently means sweater, so, and it's probably pronounced Jules, definitely a y. Well, not definitely, I reckon it's a y. But I'll just say Jules Genser because, you know, maybe, I don't know, Jules Genser. Let's try that. And I'm very happy to be corrected. So if anybody knows the exact pronunciation, I'd love to hear it. And, well, I suppose I could always look it up. Yes, I'll look it up. This is coming along so nicely. It hasn't made a lot of progress. I'll just show you up. I've got it on a larger needle so I could show you up close. So this is Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair in the colorway Elderflower, and it's more like that color, not that's like super bright. It's more like that. Yeah, like about that, soft yellow. And I'm about halfway through chart B. So chart A is this little lacy bit up here. Chart B is some mock cables, and I actually took this on my walk yesterday because the Sophie scarf wasn't, you know, I couldn't, it was less than a walk's worth of knitting for the Sophie scarf, so I took this for a walk, and I kind of timed myself because it's kind of interesting. So this chart B is a 2x2 rib for 3 rows, and then a mock cable for the 4th row. And the 2x2 rib takes me about 8 to 9, well, at least on a walk, 8 to 9 minutes a row. And the mock rib row, about 14 to 15, mock cable row, takes about 14 to 15 minutes. So I don't like that row. And in fact, I've switched it off to different, like larger needles, but these are really, really blunt. These are Addies. And I think I'm up to the mock cable row where you're knitting into the back, knitting through the back loop of the 2nd stitch, and you need sharp needles is what I'm saying. So I'll switch back to either my Chow Goose or my Knitter's Pride or whatever other needle, because the Addies are too blunt way too blunt for that. So you need, I love these sorts of the Addie blunt needles for if you're ever working with splitter yarn or you're not doing any kind of lace or anything, or you don't need the fine point. These just glide really smoothly into the yarn. They're less likely to split a yarn. But if you're doing a lot of like lace work and stuff, sharp points are helpful. So anyway, and this, I feel like I'm knitting and knitting and knitting, and I'm still on. That's still the first ball, and I have 5 balls of this. Now, I know it's pretty oversized, but I reckon I may not even break into the 4th ball. So anyway, that's coming along nicely, and it is lovely, and so it's like a confection. It's so I do have a lot of nice soft yarn on the needles at the moment. So anyway, that's it for my works in progress. I do have 2 more works in progress, but I haven't touched them at all in the last 2 weeks. That's my Comfort Core socks and my 2x2 hat. So I'm not going to show them because they're the same as 2 weeks ago. I've been tracking my yarn usage this month, and it's been quite interesting for me to see not only how many meters I've knit, but what is getting my attention and what's sort of getting left. And with stats, you know, you later on take a look at it and see what can I learn from it. I don't even know if there's anything that I can learn from it, but it's kind of interesting for me to see. And so I'll just put a picture up there of my May stats on what I've been knitting. Moving on to acquisitions and plans, I noticed that Ailsa from We Are Wool People has started her Melides dress, and I'm knitting along with her. So I've got as far as my swatch. So I'm using the recommended yarn, which is Knitting for Olive Pure Silk in the colorway Coal, and I have done my swatch, and actually that looks pretty good. I'll just show you, that's up close. But I'm definitely not getting gauge. It's quite a customizable pattern, so you can have different gauge. You measure your body. I haven't even gone through all of that yet. I just got through my swatch. I went down a needle size because I just felt like I didn't really want this to be see-through, and that actually looks pretty good to me. It looks sort of nice and drapey enough, but also dense enough not to be too see-through. But I think the pattern gauge is meant to be 25 stitches over 4 inches. Before blocking, I had 33 stitches. After blocking, so I'm on a 2.75 millimeter needle. After blocking, this is 29 stitches. It might sort of stretch out to 28, so I'm definitely going to have to be doing a little bit of mathing. But yeah, like I think 28 feels about right. I don't want to go up a needle size because I actually really like that fabric and I don't want it to be see-through. So that's what I'm thinking. I will use that needle size, the 2.75 millimeter, but I just have to do a little bit of working out with the measuring my waist, measuring the gauge. I am a bit nervous about like treating the gauge as 28 and then it stretches out even more and then the whole thing is way too, it's meant to be sort of, you know, form-fitting, but it's not meant to have negative ease. I think it's meant to have like no ease. So you kind of got to get it right. So I am a little bit nervous about that and it's a lot of knitting. So yeah, I'm not ready to cast on yet. I need to do my measurements. It was quite funny watching Ailsa at the end with her doing all her little measurements video. So I do have to do that and then read through the pattern, write it all down, and then figure out what is my changing gauge. I think I might work off 28 rather than 29, but I'd say 25. If I use 25, it'll be too big. So anyway, that's one upcoming plan. Another upcoming plan, actually it's also from the same yarn and I've talked about it before, but I plan to make the Chrysler top with my daughter Alex. So she's got this Knitting for Olive Pure Silk Ice Blue and I've got this Blood Orange. Now I actually did cast this on a few weeks ago, but I didn't sort of show it as a work in progress because I just stopped. I cast on for the second size and I also went down a needle size because I think this is also a 2.75 millimeter. Maybe it's a 2.5. I'll have to measure that. I'll put down here what it actually is. Maybe it's a 2.5. Anyway, so I cast on and did one row and then I'm just like, this is a 24 and it's bottom up. This is a 24 inch or a 60 centimeter cable. And can you see how much, like there's just so much fabric around that's going to be, I reckon that's going to be too big. So that's why I stopped because I thought, oh, suddenly the lights come in. I had a feeling I need to undo this and cast on for a size 1 instead of a size 2. So that is going to get ripped out. I've been debating whether, because my daughter Alex has started doing crochet rather than knitting on this, and it's getting into winter now, so she's probably not exactly busting to make a summer top, but it's going to take a while. So I'm thinking maybe I will undo this, start again for the 1 and make a bit of progress, and then maybe that will be sort of inspirational for her as she sees my progressing. And I'll be just a little bit ahead of her, then she can catch up because she's certainly ahead of me in the sewing of the bags. So maybe I can get ahead of her in this and she's inspired me with making the bag, so maybe I can inspire her with the Chrysler top. Anyway, moving on from that because that's definitely a plan because that's getting ripped out, so I haven't actually started really. The next plan, and it is an acquisition because I'll tell you about this. So this is Cardiff Cashmere Prime, which is a blend of cashmere and silk, and that was gifted to me by Cardiff Cashmere as a part of a collaboration with Yarnacopia. And I showed this swatch previously on a 4.5, 5, 5.5 and a 6 millimeter needle, and I really like it on the 5 millimeter. I was umming and ahhing about what pattern to make. I decided on the Cumulus Blouse V Neck by Petite Knit because that's pretty close to gauge. I'm getting, what am I getting? 19 stitches on 5 millimeters, and that pattern is 18 stitches. But I don't know, there's another pattern that I really like, and it was the CP05 VNeck by Minimi Knits, who's Christina. And I really like that neckline. The reason I chose the V-neck was I thought it looked a little bit more elegant than the O-neck. And then the reason I think I like this CP05 V-neck is because I quite like the twisted rib around the neckline as opposed to the I-cord. So even though I've bought the Cumulus Blouse V-neck, and I probably will make that at some point, I think I'm going to cast on for the CP05 V-neck. Now, the reason I didn't choose that one was because the gauge on that is 16 stitches and I'm getting 19. That gauge is on a 5 millimeter needle as well. So, but it's a raglan. I can just modify for that. So mine will be, if I use the cast on, maybe I could just go up a size. Do my own math that I've already got a video on. That's an idea. That's an idea. I think I'll do that. I'll work out the math, go up a size, go up whatever size I need to for my tighter gauge. And I think that's the one I'm going to do. So that's an upcoming plan. And just want to like, it's so nice. I definitely would like to make some kind of scarf for me out of this yarn. I don't know. I haven't seen my friend Amy since I gifted her hers, so I'm hoping she likes it. Anyway, that is an upcoming plan. And I think, is that it? That's the only upcoming plans for me. Moving on to what has caught my eye, I have 3 knitted items and 1 sewing item to share. The first item is the Petal Drop Cami by Florence Miller, and that's knit out of a fingering weight yarn. She used knitting for olive merino, but I'd probably use knitting for olive cotton merino. That's knit on a 27 stitch gauge in like a lace and rib pattern, like in the design. And it's meant to be worn with 6 centimeters of negative ease, which is around 2.5 inches. So it's bottom up. That can be quite good for the getting the right strap length. And also if you're knitting bottom up, then you can try it on pretty early to sort of see if it's fitting okay. So, which is probably, what I could do with this Chrysler one as well, but I think I already know it's going to be too big. So anyway, so the Petal Drop Cami, that's one that has caught my eye. Another one is the Minto Tee and Dress, and that's by Magdalena Parker, and that's knit on a 26 stitch gauge with a fingering weight yarn on 3.5mm needles. It looks really pretty as a top. There's quite a lot of fabric under here, so I'm a little bit uncertain about it, but everyone seems to be, the people who have made it seem pretty happy with it, and the dress looks fantastic. I really like the dress, but that's a lot of knitting. But gosh, look, I'm going to do it on a 2.75mm needle. That one is a 20 stitch gauge, so they're all small gauges, but honestly I do find tighter gauge a bit more wearable. Anyway, really pretty design, so that has caught my eye. The last knitted item is the Pauline cardigan by Joanna Gerich. I actually haven't knit any of her patterns, so she's one that I'm curious to try. But anyway, this one looks really cool. I really like the V detail with the striping, and that's knit with a worsted weight yarn on a 19 stitch gauge. And the way she's, the sample that she's knitted, the main colour is using Ficolana Awera and Tilia held together, and then the contrast stripes are in actually like a garter stripe, and they are in Ficolana Peruvian. So obviously you could interchange either of those, but like you probably could also use Awera and Tilia for the contrast color stripe as well. But if you can use like stash yarn, because you're obviously not going to need a lot for that contrast stripe, although I didn't actually check the meterages because there's a bit of it around, but yeah, obviously the other color is the main one. So that's it for what has caught my eye for knitting. For sewing, there's some pants by Helen's Closet called the Falconer pants, and they sort of have that, or at least I think there's 2 designs with the leg. You can have a wide leg or a barrel leg. I reckon by the time I get around to sewing these pants, barrel leg will be out, but I do quite like that style. So, you don't always have to wear something when it's in, and I'm not quite sure if it will suit my shape, but they look nice, sort of fitted here with a little bit more room in the hips. And where I saw them most recently was on a YouTube podcast called Knotty Gnome Crafts, and I've forgotten the name of the lady, but she's got a really nice podcast, so I'll link to that in the description below. But she's doing Me Made May, where she's taking photos of what she's wearing every day, and that's part of her challenge. And she had these fantastic, like electric blue, sort of almost purple, I don't know, it's hard to tell sometimes with lighting, falconer pants. They looked fantastic. So that's kind of where that caught my eye. One acquisition that arrived this week is a knitting light from LUMOS. Now this was sent to me by Meg from LUMOS, and so it was gifted to me, but it's something that I have been wanting for ages. I had one of these, or not this brand, but another version, maybe like 15 years ago, but it was powered by AA batteries, and then the batteries leaked, and I really missed it when it stopped working. And particularly as I'm getting older, I'm finding I need just that little bit of extra light. So the way this works, if you haven't seen one of these, you put it around your neck. It's super, super light because there's no batteries in it, and it's got these really flexible cables. So they're flexible, but they also sort of stay in that spot. And you've got lights that are operated each one individually. So you've just got like a white light, then more like a warmer orange light, and then like sort of more like a blue light and then off, and each one operates individually. So yeah, it is really, really good for me for knitting in the car or knitting watching a movie or something like that where I actually want the lights off. Now, even though when I knit in the car, I don't usually have to, in fact, I can't look down most of the time because I get motion sick. But every now and then I do need to be able to look down at something. Maybe I've dropped a stitch or there's just like one part of a row where I actually need to pay attention. And then if there's no light, I can't see it. And I can't hold my phone light and knit at the same time. So yeah, so I find this is perfect. So being able to have that and then just turn it on briefly, see what I need to do, and then turn it off again. Or if we're watching a movie and I don't want to disturb anybody else and I want the whole mood lighting, I can just have this on and just spotlight on my work for if and when I need it. And it's easy to turn on and off. And it's so light that it's not, and I do have some like neck issues. I get sort of, sore neck and stuff. This just feels like nothing on my neck. And particularly at the moment, I'm planning on knitting the Melides dress, which is in black and tiny stitches. Even if it is daylight, sometimes I just really need to be able to see. So to be able to have something like that to spotlight just right up on it is really, really handy. So yeah, I'm really, really happy to have this. I can see myself using it all the time. And for anyone who is watching, if you would like to purchase one of these, I have a link in the description below where if you click on that link in the next 7 days, and I have a coupon code as well, which I'll put on the screen below, you will get 25% off. So yeah, I'm really appreciative of that. And yeah, I really love it. Oh, it comes, one of the good things about it too as well is it comes with a, because it doesn't need batteries, it's got a, like a USB and it just there. And it comes with a USB cord, so very easy to charge up. And yeah, like I don't know that it's just the kind of thing that I'll use. The battery life is, they say, like at least a couple of hours. I don't know that I would have it on permanently anyway. So for me, it would probably last a lot longer than that. Certainly enough for an evening of knitting where I'm just going to turn it on for when I need it and turn it off. So yeah, very excited about that. I think it's a great product. Right, we're nearing the end. Just moving on to garment sewing. This will be a very quick segment. This is the Ryan top from Whitney Deal that I showed previously in this lovely Swiss black Swiss dot. I haven't hemmed it yet, but because what I'm wearing today, I think one of the reasons I haven't hemmed it is I needed to try it on with what I would wear it with, and because I'm wearing sort of like black work pants, and I could see myself wearing this with either like black jeans or black work pants or something, I'll try it on and then work out how much I need to, because it's way too long. And that's one of the reasons I haven't hemmed it, because I had to cut some off. So I'll work out how much I need to cut off, make a note of that so that I know for future fabric buying, if I make it again, how much I actually need as opposed to how much because I have so much left over. And I find that happens to me a lot with sewing patterns. Although you do have to pay attention to the width of the fabric that you used, like can you actually lay it out? Because if it's too narrow a fabric, then you're going to need a lot more. Anyway, I'm sure anyone who sews, you know what I'm talking about. So I do have to cut off the ends and then I'll hem it. Like that will take no time to hem. The decision making was the thing that sort of put this off. So that's it for the sewing segment. And now moving on to Me Made May. If you haven't been watching my vlogs, I totally get it, right? Because they're every day and we've got other stuff to do. But I have really been enjoying making them and keeping it to just 5 to 10 minutes max, where it's just what I'm knitting, what I'm wearing, what knitting I've done. Yeah, maybe I'll need a tiny little bit of what I'm up to, more in connection with, do I have much knitting time? And if I've been sewing or anything. Anyway, that's been fun. I do plan to try and do it to the end of the month. Sorry if you're not watching and I'm just cluttering up your YouTube subscription feed, but it's only for a month and then I'll stop because there's no way I could do this for longer than a month. But I'm having fun with it. What am I up to? Day 8, and I'm definitely counting this one as my day 8. So I'm not really going to do much of a personal stuff this segment. If you're interested in that, you're probably watching the vlogs and you're already seeing what I'm up to. The only thing I'll say that I'm up to today is, like, I've already taught this morning and finished early, and my daughter Alex and I are going to get permanent bracelets this afternoon. So I already have one soldered on bracelet, this little one here. can't even really see it. It's just got like one tiny, with my friend Amy, we both got that one. And then my daughter Alex and I are going to go get one. So I'll show you that tomorrow on the vlog. And it's kind of like a little, just like a silver paper clip style. I asked my daughter Mia if she would like to join us, but she doesn't like wearing bracelets. They really bother her. So anyway, the blanket was for her bracelets with my daughter Alex. You know, you do different things with different kids. It doesn't, fair and equal doesn't always mean the same. So they're different people. They like to do different things. So yes, and I love doing different things with each one, whichever one, whatever they like to do, I'm up for it with them. So Alex likes to get pedicures, so we do that together. And hopefully she'll do some knitting with me, but she certainly sews with me, and Mia's doing that as well. So anyway, I'm starting to waffle now. Time to go. Thanks for being here, and yeah, I'll if you're watching my vlogs, I'll see you tomorrow. If not, I'll see you in 2 weeks' time.